Good morning. My name is Catherine Williamson, and I am the Director of Religious Education. On behalf of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware, I welcome you to our online worship service. Welcome. What you bring, who you are, enriches us all. We say welcome to your joy, your hope, your pride. We say welcome to your grief, your fear, your anger, and the parts of you that are not yet ready to be seen and heard. Welcome to them all. And now let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join us by lighting it as I share these words from Reverend Lisa Friedman. We hold hands to remember that we need one another and are part of one human family. We join voices to remember that we each have a gift to offer the world and to use in making the world a better place.
Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Won't you center down, settle in just a bit? I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer. These words are written by the Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson. She calls this prayer One Love. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one, working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing, rejoicing, getting to know each other, taking risks, opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community. Together, we are one. Please join now in a brief time of shared silence. I invite you now to use the chat to share the names of those whom you are holding in mind and heart, those who may be in need of support or care or healing, those who we celebrate with joy. Please add those names as you wish to the chat. May all whose names are shared, may all whose names remain closely held, may they find peace and healing where that is most deeply needed. And may they celebrate with joy and gratitude where life calls them so to do. Blessed be. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I am sharing the story, How Coyote Lost His Song, Music, and Dance. Many animals belonged to the Woodland Society, including Coyote. The members of the Woodland Society shared their time, talent, and treasure and worked together to make the world a better place. One day, it occurred to Coyote that he really didn't need the other creatures. Anyway, they truly didn't appreciate his talents. He decided to take his songs, his flute and drum, and his dancing and find a place where he could be alone. As Coyote was leaving, Rabbit appeared, and he decided to tag along with Coyote. Rabbit ran ahead and then ran back. "Hey, Coyote," Rabbit yelled. "Where you going?" Coyote ignored him. Rabbit ran on ahead and ran back. "Hey, Coyote," Rabbit said. "Know what's on the other side of that hill? I just saw it." Coyote ignored Rabbit and just kept on walking. Rabbit's feelings were hurt, and he went away. That night, a funny thing happened. Coyote stopped and built his fire and sat down to sing. But as hard as he tried, he couldn't remember any of his songs. And so all he could do was play his flute and drum and dance a little. But he couldn't sing, and the night was strangely quiet. The next day, Coyote was off again, feeling a little sad and a little strange. But he still wanted to get away from everyone else. Before long, he came to a marsh. It was so wide, he didn't see how he could go around it. So he started to go through it. Pretty soon, he ran into Moose, who was up to his knees in mud and weeds. Moose lifted his head when he saw Coyote approaching. "Well, hello, Coyote," he said. "What brings you way out here in the marshes?" Coyote ignored him and kept looking for a way to cross the mud. Now, Moose became a little miffed that Coyote was ignoring him. "Coyote, if you're looking for a path, I can help you," he said. Coyote looked right at Moose and didn't say anything. Moose's feelings were really hurt now. "You know what, Coyote? You're being rude," Moose said, and then he walked away. Coyote finally did find his way across the marsh and continued on his journey. That night, something strange happened again. Coyote built his fire and tried to make his music, but not only had he forgotten his songs, now he couldn't remember how to play his flute and drum. All he could do was dance around the fire, and the night was frighteningly quiet. The next day, Coyote was really upset and a little afraid, but he had decided that he would get away from all these silly creatures, and get away he would. So he set off again. This time, he came to a little stream that flowed down out of the mountains. And since he was thirsty and a little tired, Coyote took a long drink, sat down, and decided to take a nap. As they often are, the bushes were filled with birds, and just as Coyote was about to fall asleep, the little birds started singing their songs. This was exactly what Coyote wanted to get away from. It made him really angry that the birds wouldn't let him sleep in peace. So he leaped up and snarled and barked at them to frighten the birds away. One of the birds, who was feeling really brave, flew back and said, "Coyote, you're being mean." And then all the birds flew off. Coyote had succeeded. Coyote was pleased with himself for getting rid of the birds, and so he decided to stay right there. That night, he made his fire, but the strangest thing happened. Not only could he no longer sing, and not only could he no longer play his flute and drum, but now he couldn't even remember how to dance. All Coyote could do was stare into the silent fire and think about how much he had lost.
All Coyote could do was stare into the fire and think about how much he had lost, and that he had lost his dance. I know how Coyote felt. There was a time when I lost my dance. Like Coyote, I lost friends and companions. Unlike Coyote, I didn't choose to leave them. Instead, life brought loss my way. Two of my dearest companions, who had been part of my community for decades, each of them died after a long and serious illness. When that happened, I felt as if the beauty in life, the grace in the day-to-day, life's rhythm and motion, all of that had disappeared. I lost my dance. You know how it is sometimes when you're in the midst of something very difficult, maybe in the midst of grief, and you remember another time that felt like that, felt sort of like that, and you remember what you did then. And maybe you remember how it helped you in that much earlier moment. Long before this time, when I lost my dance, there had been another when I almost lost my dance. Almost, but not quite. It was the day after a fire in my apartment building in New York City. Everyone was okay, and everything seemed shrouded in a kind of smoky fog. When we were allowed back into our apartment to get personal items, I grabbed two things. The first was my big cuddly bear with the big feet, named Bigfoot, of course. And after I grabbed the bear, I grabbed my dance practice shoes. That night, after the fire, I had a dance class. Why not go, I thought. I can at least distract myself from all that's happened. I went, and once the music started, I realized this really wasn't about distraction. Once I put my shoes on, and I started to move around the dance floor, I found the most amazing things. Beauty that I could help create, grace that I could be part of as I moved, and joy in how the music and the motion fit together. All of that, the fire and the day after, they were a long time ago. This more recent time, when I was missing my friends and in all my grief, I was pretty sure that my dance wasn't almost lost. I was pretty sure that it was lost and gone.
Finally, Coyote fell asleep. In his dream, White Buffalo Woman appeared to him and asked him why he was so sad and scared. Coyote explained how he had lost his songs and music and dance. He didn't know what to do, and he was afraid that he would also lose his fire. White Buffalo Woman asked why he was out here all alone. Coyote said he was tired of being surrounded all the time by those silly creatures, and he decided he would live all by himself, away from them all. Coyote, said White Buffalo Woman, don't you understand that your music and your dance and even your fire are nothing but the spirits of those creatures who are different from you? As you drove them away, they left even your heart and took their spirits with them. If you want your music and dance back, you must go back to your friends and accept them into your heart. Only then will you be able to go on. The next morning, when Coyote awoke, he couldn't remember his dream. But when he heard the birds sing, he sat and listened to them. And then he began back the way he had come. That night, when he built his fire, he could remember his dance. And the next day, he went on back the way he had come and chanced upon Moose. And he asked Moose how to get across the marsh. That night, when he built his fire, he remembered how to play his flute and drum, and the night was not so lonely. And the next day, he still went back the way he had come, and suddenly up ran Rabbit. Coyote ran with Rabbit and played and had a wonderful time. And that night, when he built his fire, the air was filled with Coyote's song, and never again did Coyote forget how easily he could lose his music and his dance and even his fire.
White Buffalo Woman came to Coyote in a dream and asked him about the spirit of his dance. The spirit of it. Do you know where that comes from? She asked. Go back to your friends. They are the spirit of your dance. And the next morning, Coyote set off home, going back the way he had come. Now, I didn't have a dream like Coyote did, but what I had was a memory of a time when, after that fire, I almost lost my dance. but something kind of nagging at me, something telling me I should go dance, well, it just kept at it. And I wondered if I should try it again. After the fire, it worked. Maybe it would this time too. But it took me months. Eventually, I found a studio. Eventually, I picked up my practice shoes, and eventually, I made my way back to the dance floor once again. Once there, I found some old friends. Friends named Rhythm and Movement. Friends called Beauty and Grace. And along with those old friends, I found new companions. Among them, the teacher with whom I still dance 17 years later, and his daughter, whose wedding I had the honor of celebrating in August of 2019, his daughter, who at the age of 4 gave me a really fine cha-cha lesson. Years after the second time I lost and then found my dance again, I was given a book of poetry by Alice Walker. The collection is entitled Hard Times Require Furious Dancing. And thanks to her, I understand a little better and a little deeper what losing and finding my dance is all about. These are her words. Sometimes it all feels a bit too much to bear, so I have learned to dance. It's not that I didn't know before, I just didn't know how basic it is for maintaining balance. The Africans are always dancing. The marvelous moves they are famous for on the dance floor came about because the dancers were contorting away various knots of stress. We have all encountered our share of grief and troubles. We can still hold the line of beauty, form, and beat. No small accomplishment in a world as challenging as this one. Hard times require furious dancing. Each one of us is the proof. I wonder, what is your dance? Whether with your hands or head or just in your imagination, or if you move about in some other way, could you just move a bit? Show off that dance. Or maybe sing the song of it, or maybe make the rhythm of it, or just create one. Imagine one right now wherever you are. I wonder, how will you tend your dance? How will you keep it? I wonder, how will you hold the line of beauty, form, and beat? Like Alice Walker said, hard times require furious dancing. Each of us is proof.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die. believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a need to live together. We have our hearts to give, we have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us, and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear imagination freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of the child, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a time to be together, and with the grace of age we share the wonder of youth, and we believe that growing is an answer. Our lives are full of wonder, and our time is very brief. The death of one among us fills us all with grief. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we share with friends will linger on and on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have a right to grow, we have a gift to receive, that peace within our living is an answer. We seek in looseness to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to the sense of what we find, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found our joy together, and in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
Let there now be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place of aspiration, this place where we strive together for beloved community. This place, sacred to so many, where we celebrate the journey of life. Thank you for your support, your financial support for this beloved community. There are 3 ways that you can make your contribution. The information is here on the screen. The first is to mail a check directly to the church. The second is to go to the online donation page on the church's website. And the third is to use the Give Plus app on your smartphone. Any of these are available to you. Thank you for your support. It makes us stronger together. And now please join me in dedicating our offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
If you have a chalice at home, please join us in extinguishing it as we share our closing words. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, we have gathered under the banner of a shared faith. We are born of a welcoming grace that extends and receives love. We are touched by the ways that we have fallen short of who we strive to be. And here we are reborn, forged by a greater courage. Let us move from this place, encouraged and refreshed for the journey ahead.